One of the medicines you're talking about, right, to connect to those energies, you also work with psilocybin mushrooms, the magic mushrooms. Do you want to tell me more about your therapy with that?
Interestingly enough, it's been a few years, about the process of between thinking that would be or feeling it would be not the right thing to do, but my right thing to do. Sorry. And, well, I had my own experiences with psilocybin mushrooms. Interestingly enough, you have different things in psilocybin, and also the stuff you get in Amsterdam, or like a more cheesy stuff, or not as potent, or not, because again, the product is going to take the energy of the people who deal with it, or the intention of the product. So it's something touristy, like in Amsterdam, in tourist shops. It was different, the energy. I felt I could compare it with mild LSD experiences for a while, until these points of experiencing a mushroom called derrumbe in San Jose. You have two types of super special endemic mushrooms in the Sierra. San Jose El Pacifico, it's derrumbe and maestro. Two psilocybin mushrooms, and I had my strongest mushroom experience, and one of my strongest psychedelic sacred experiences with these derrumbe mushrooms. And from there, I started connecting and say, okay, I can use it differently. We know that mushrooms can be used to cure depression and anxiety. We know some uses been studied and stuff. So how do we make it something different, but meaningful and efficient? And naturally, through my process of accepting and sharing my own therapies, I came to the point of, why not trying microdosing? So I got interested. That was also 3-4 years ago. I stayed in a mushroom community in Guatemala 4 years ago, learning. So studying mushrooms. I was picking mushrooms, not psychedelic mushrooms, which are also edible, but like edibles. It's all edible mushrooms, But like in Canada, I was going English teacher. I wanted to go out of the structure, conventional structure. Anyway, more and more interested, because you have lots of mushrooms which are not psychedelic mushrooms, and which have amazing uses. So to the point of studying how mushroom can eat plastic, to recycle plastic, or eat cigarette butts. So it was getting into that science and spirit. So it was a good match. I liked it. Anyway, all the way to this point, it started for the first time probably 2 months ago. I had thought about it, I've done 5 mushroom therapies up to date, because it's not a whole journey. The classic 3 gram, 3 to 5 for more intense experiences. But it's not what I like with microdosing is short term. You go 2-3 weeks, you go 2 days on, 1 day off, or 1 day on, 1 day off, which I'd rather recommend to start with. And you go 0.1, 0.15 grams, and then you see how it works, how you feel, because really you don't feel it, but it still enhances the thing as well.
Yeah. That's what I found.
And me too. But this time I felt it should have to be, it would have to be something different. A bit deeper, but not going the whole journey, because it's a responsibility. I've had some people, it was the first time, so you had to be mild, and otherwise I have to spend 8 hours with a person to initiate. Well, anyway, although it was just 1 therapy a day, because I knew it was a lot of energy, and it's very profound. So I tapped into between 0.5 and 1 gram. And it's been interesting. It started with a very special person who has the Crohn's disease.
The Crohn's disease, what's that?
Well, it's a disease that affects your nervous system, endocrine system. You can get arthritis super young, and like a crisis of arthritis, of like kind of paralysis moment. And this person, this woman, she was diagnosed with the Crohn's disease at age 7. So I believe in the psychosomatics, also through quantum physics, of like the power of thoughts and feelings and emotions, how it affects our body, that everything we manifest here, basically it's part of what we manifest here. And through that I say, okay, we have this emotional charge. That's what I do in my work. I mean, basically I've learned how to read the back, to connect all these tools, and to connect the masculine side of the body, the feminine side of the body, and then basically to say, okay, this can be connecting with more like masculine, feminine, but like deep subconscious emotions through what I found through the body, through acupuncture and acupressure points, as much as the posture, you know, like the plexus, the heart, the way subconsciously, again, how we expose to the world, self-confidence, self-esteem, but also repression. I mean, like how we repressed emotionally in this society, so we tend to close, or like material possession, to kind of Gollum, you know, you protect. So you close in, and like it gives a lot of physical issues. But like understanding that everything is emotional to the point it can be karmic, that I believe in reincarnation, not necessarily as human. I believe in karma, and that when you have such disease at 7 years old, it cannot be can be from some emotional charge, but it's very unlikely. I mean, like so young to manifest that. So it has to come from somewhere, something else. So I said, okay, why not using mushrooms to do some regression? I work with hypnosis as well, through the deep state of relaxation of the therapies. But sometimes with mushrooms we can speak and like exchange and go deeper down the rabbit hole and try to explore maybe other lives and see what we can bring to this physical plane, to release it and heal it and let it go. That's what the whole thing. So it differs from the classic mushroom study, to the point where I'd like to do this holistic medicine center in Chakawa. Before this year, we see how I can manifest it, but it's going to happen. I'm going to manifest it. I know it's the way somehow. I have to follow. And working, like I've been talking with doctors and stuff, I mean, to study, again, magnetic resonance is very expensive. But like study the brain and see how we can evolve. I believe in telepathy, empathy. Again, we get into this thing, I don't want to make it too long, but like words are loaded with prejudices and judgment, and we live in a machist society. We want to change that without falling into feminism either. It has to be humanism, the middle way. And yet we still use these words, they're loaded. And I believe if we limit the use without thinking of trying to invent an Esperanto and like a union language, Bebo, so it hasn't worked. So like making something more like to limit without limitations, but like not to use so many words, like develop the brain, the true potential of the brain, and trying to develop telepathy, seeing the patterns, how it works, working with kids, working with adults, I don't know. Another bracket, I mean, kids are fundamental with the seed and stuff. Everyone says that, like, seeds, I mean, we don't know how they're going to germinate, but I mean, the kids, it's the future. The future doesn't exist. So, I mean, I love working with adults as well because they're the present. Right now, we can already change, and we know the thing we can change is ourselves, and only then can we change the collective through our energies. But that's the mushroom progress until now, and we see